You see it coming. Your child's face starts to crumple over a broken crayon, their body goes stiff, and you feel that familiar tension rising in your own chest. Your first instinct is probably to talk them out of it, to reason with them. You say, "Honey, it's just a crayon, it's okay." Or maybe, "Stop crying, it's not a big deal." But what if I told you that every single one of those logical, well-meaning words isn't just failing to reach them, but might actually be making the meltdown worse? The secret to stopping a tantrum in its tracks isn't about the perfect words, the right consequences, or a sticker chart. The secret is knowing this one critical fact. The moment a tantrum begins, your child's thinking brain has just gone mostly offline. You think you're dealing with a defiant child, but you're actually facing a little human in pure survival mode. For the next few minutes, we're going to look at what's happening inside your child's brain during one of these meltdowns. I'll show you why trying to reason with them is a losing battle, and reveal the only thing that can get through to their survival brain. It's a technique rooted in neuroscience, but it feels like connection, not discipline. By the end of this video, you'll have a clear step-by-step method to shorten these meltdowns, not by overpowering your child, but by connecting with them. Section 1. The why. Your child's brain on a tantrum. To understand the secret, we first have to get clear on what a tantrum actually is. We're often taught to see tantrums as bad behavior, a power play, or the sign of a spoiled child. But modern neuroscience gives us a totally different and much more helpful picture. Studies confirm that most tantrums aren't an intentional act of rebellion, they're a neurological overload. A helpful way to think about it is to imagine your child's brain as a two-story house. The downstairs brain is the primitive part, home to the brainstem and the limbic system. This is where the amygdala lives, the brain's little smoke detector. It handles basic functions, big emotions like anger and fear, and the classic fight, flight, or freeze response. It develops very early, which makes perfect survival sense. A baby needs to be able to scream to get their needs met long before they can say a single word. The upstairs brain is the sophisticated thinking part, the prefrontal cortex. This is where all the good stuff happens: logic, reason, impulse control, emotional regulation, and empathy. But here's the catch. The upstairs brain is under construction for a very long time. While it develops a lot in childhood, it doesn't finish maturing until we're in our mid-20s. So what happens during a tantrum? Your child hits a trigger. To you, it seems ridiculous, the wrong color cup, a block tower falling over. But for a toddler, these small disappointments can feel huge. Their amygdala, the brain's little smoke detector, perceives this emotional flood as a threat. It sounds an alarm so loud it's as if a tiger just walked into the room. In that moment, the amygdala hijacks the brain. It effectively disrupts the pathway to the upstairs, limiting access to the logical, reasoning prefrontal cortex. Neuroimaging studies show that while the connection isn't completely severed, stress does shift resources toward the survival brain. Their body is flooded with stress hormones like cortisol. This isn't a choice, it's a physiological, involuntary response. They are now operating almost entirely from their downstairs survival brain. This is why trying to reason with a melting down toddler is like trying to have a calm debate with someone who thinks they're being chased by a bear. Your logical words, "but we have to go home for your nap," are being sent to a part of the brain that's physically overwhelmed and less accessible. They can't process language effectively. They can't connect behavior to consequences. They are in a state of dysregulation, and all their system knows is danger. Your words are just more noise in an already overloaded system. And here's something most of us don't realize. Our own stress makes it worse. Your child's brain is wired with mirror neurons, cells that help them unconsciously reflect the emotional state of their caregivers. When your heart starts pounding and your voice gets tight, even if you're trying to sound calm, their nervous system picks up on your dysregulation through a process of emotional contagion. Your panic teaches them to panic bigger. On the flip side, a parent's calm presence can literally help regulate a child's nervous system, slowing their heart rate and lowering their stress hormones. This is called co-regulation, and it's the foundation for teaching a child how to eventually self-regulate. The problem isn't a defiant child. The problem is a disconnected brain, and the secret to calming the storm isn't to lecture the downstairs brain, but to connect with it. Section 2. The how. The shift from control to connection. So if logic and reasoning are mostly off the table, what do? We have to speak the language of the downstairs brain, and that language isn't words, it's safety. When a child is in survival mode, their whole being is asking one question: am I safe? Not just physically safe, but emotionally safe. Your job in that moment isn't to be a disciplinarian, it's to be a safe harbor. You have to become the calm in their storm. The goal is to send a signal to their hyper-aroused amygdala that the threat has passed. Once the amygdala gets the all clear, the door to the upstairs brain can creak back open and your child can slowly come back online. How do you signal safety? Through connection. This is where some old school methods can fall short. While tools like distraction or a calm down timeout can be endorsed for typical behaviors, they may not be the best fit for a child in a state of total neurological overload. Sending a child away when they're overwhelmed can leave them feeling alone with a scary emotional tsunami they aren't equipped to handle. It can communicate that their big feelings are bad or too much for you. True connection means validating their feelings even if you don't approve of the behavior. Remember, saying, "I see you're so angry the red cup is dirty," isn't the same as saying it's okay to throw your spoon. You're saying yes to the feeling while holding the boundary on the behavior. This validation tells their brain, someone gets it, I'm understood. That feeling of being understood is the first step toward feeling safe. This requires a huge mental shift for us as parents. We have to move from seeing the tantrum as a moment for discipline to seeing it as a moment for connection. It's not about winning a battle, it's about helping a tiny human navigate an overwhelming internal experience. The discipline, the teaching part, can only happen after their brain is calm and reconnected. First you regulate, then you relate, and only then can you reason. Section 3. The Secret in Action, a Story. Let me show you what this looks like in the real world, because theory is one thing, but the checkout aisle at 5 p.m. is another. Imagine you're at the store grabbing a few things. Your 3-year-old, who is tired and hungry, spots those character cookies. He asks for them. You say, "Not today, sweetie. We have snacks at home." It starts with a whine. "But I want them." You try logic. "We'll be home in 5 minutes." This is your first mistake. You're talking to his upstairs brain, but that door is already closing. His face gets red. His voice gets louder. "No, I want the cookies." Now, the downstairs brain is taking over. People are looking. You feel that hot flush of embarrassment. Your own heart rate climbs. Your voice gets tight. "I said no, stop it." And boom, full meltdown. He's arching his back, kicking his legs, and letting out a wail that could shatter glass. His upstairs brain is now offline. He's not really thinking about cookies anymore. He's drowning in frustration and powerlessness. The old you might have hissed, "That's it, no screen time tonight," punishment. Or you might have grabbed the cookies just to make it stop, giving in. Both are about control, and neither teaches him anything useful for next time. But the new you, the you who gets the secret, does something totally different. First, you pause. You stop everything. Don't speak, just take one deep, deliberate breath. This breath is for you. It interrupts your own stress response and keeps your own amygdala from hijacking your brain. You consciously relax your shoulders. Next, you move slowly. You crouch down to his eye level. You're no longer a towering, frustrated figure. You're an accessible, safe presence. You don't have to touch him yet. For some kids, that's too much right now. You just bring your calm body near his chaotic one. Then you connect with a whisper. In a very low, soft tone, much quieter than his screams, you validate what's real for him. You don't talk about the cookies, you talk about the feeling. You say, "You are so angry right now. It is so hard when you want something and mom says no. I see how mad you are." He's still wailing, but maybe there's a tiny shift. He might risk a glance at you. You've spoken a language his downstairs brain understands. Empathy. You see him. You continue. "It feels so unfair. You really, really wanted those cookies. That's so disappointing." You're just narrating his inner world. This helps him feel deeply understood and starts giving him words for his big feelings. You don't offer solutions. You don't say, "But you can have." You just sit with the feeling. Your calm nervous system is doing the work, communicating non-verbally to his. "You are safe. This feeling is big, but it will pass. I'm right here." Slowly, the storm starts to pass. One study found that this type of connection-based intervention can shorten tantrums significantly. The screams turn into sobs. The sobs turn into whimpers. His tense body starts to soften. This is the sign his upstairs brain is coming back online. Now, and only now, you can offer a connecting touch. "Can I give you a hug?" He might nod, or just fall into you. As you hold him, you might say, That was a really big, hard feeling. You've successfully co-regulated. You didn't fix the cookie problem, you connected with the child, and more importantly, you just strengthened your relationship and taught him on a deep neurological level that he is your safe place, even when he feels his worst. Section 4. The 5 steps to calm a tantrum more effectively. That story shows the process, but in the heat of the moment, you need a simple framework. Here's a 5-step method to use as your 60-second reset. Step 1. The parent pause. The very first step is about you. The instant you see the tantrum ignite, stop. Don't move, don't speak. Take one single deep breath. This is the circuit breaker for your own reactivity, giving your thinking brain a split second to take charge. Step 2. Lower and soften. Deliberately lower your energy and your body. Drop your shoulders. Get down to your child's eye level. Your non-threatening body language is the first message of safety your child's survival brain will read. Step 3. Name the emotion. Using a low, soothing voice, name the feeling you see, not the behavior. You are so angry. You look so frustrated. That was a big, sad feeling. Naming the emotion helps tame it by bringing a tiny bit of the thinking brain back into the picture and validating their experience. Step 4. Validate the why. Briefly connect the feeling to their point of view. It's so hard to stop playing. You really wanted to do it by yourself. This shows them you get it. You aren't judging the feeling, you're just acknowledging their reality in that moment. Step 5. Provide presence, not solutions. This is the final, most crucial step. Just be there. Your calm, regulated presence is the most powerful tool you have. You don't need to fix it or lecture. You can offer a gentle touch or just sit quietly nearby. You can say, "I'm right here with you." This co-regulation is what allows their nervous system to borrow your calm and find its way back to balance. Section 6. Common pitfalls to avoid. As you start using this method, it's just as important to know what not to do. The biggest pitfall is slipping back into old habits when you feel triggered. First, avoid the temptation to teach or lecture during the meltdown. Remember the offline sign on the upstairs brain. The time for teaching is later when everyone is calm. Then you can talk about what happened and brainstorm better ways to handle frustration. Second, resist the urge to punish in the moment. Trying to punish a tantrum is often like trying to punish a sneeze. It's a physiological reaction, not a logical rebellion. For many kids, punishment only adds another layer of threat to an already overwhelmed nervous system, making future meltdowns more likely. While calm, planned-out consequences have their place, the middle of a storm is not it. Finally, don't expect perfection from your child or yourself. This is a skill, and it takes practice. There will be times when you lose your cool and your own downstairs brain takes over. That's okay. The most important thing you can do after you've had your own mom-splosion or dad burst is to go back and repair it. Apologize for yelling. Say, "I was having a really big feeling too. I'm sorry I scared you. I'm still working on handling my big feelings." This act of repair is one of the most powerful modeling tools you have. Conclusion and CTA. The secret to calming tantrums isn't a secret at all. It's a fundamental shift in perspective. It's realizing that the defiant child you thought you were fighting doesn't really exist. In their place is a small human whose brain is doing exactly what it's designed to do, even if it's incredibly inconvenient for us. Their thinking brain is temporarily offline, and they're in survival mode. By pausing, getting on their level, validating their feelings, and offering your calm presence, you are doing more than just stopping a tantrum. You are building their brain. You're wiring them for emotional resilience. You're strengthening your connection and teaching them in the most profound way possible that they are safe, seen, and loved, even in their messiest moments. This isn't about being a perfect parent, it's about being a present parent. It's about choosing connection over control, and in doing so, giving your child and yourself the gift of calm. If this idea of connection-based parenting resonates with you, subscribe for more videos on raising emotionally healthy kids. And I'd love to hear from you in the comments. What's the most irrational thing that's ever triggered a tantrum in your house? Reading them reminds all of us that we're in this together.